if inflation is going down, why are prices still so high? Basically, look at this. If we have price and we have time in years, over time, prices go up. They usually don't come back down. Once people get used to making a certain amount of money, they don't want to make less money the following year. What does 0% inflation look like? Well, 0% inflation would be a flat line, meaning prices are stable, they're not moving. Generally, the US targets something close to like a 2% inflation rate. If you've looked at the past couple of years, we've been at a little over 9% inflation, which means we've been increasing about 9% from one year to the next year. In the past year, we've been in the 3 to 4% inflation rate. So what does that look like? So if you have, let's just take an easy number, if you have 10% inflation, let's say 1 year. So if you go to the grocery store in this year, you buy $100 worth of groceries. Okay. Now the next year, let's say it went up 10%. That same grocery cart worth of items is now going to cost about $110. Now, if I then buy the same groceries the following year, I'm not saying necessarily food, but this is housing, food, everything. But now this year, it went up another 3%, let's say. So now you're looking at about $113, and we'll call that 30-something cents for that same grocery cart worth of items. So in 1 year it was $100, the next year it was $110, the next year it was $113. If you want prices to go down, you actually don't want inflation to go down, you want it to become negative. It would be called deflation. So a negative inflation rate or a deflationary rate is when you start having this go down. It's 5%, let's say, this following year. So if you had something that was $100 and you had a 5% reduction or a negative 5% inflation or a 5% deflation rate, a $100 item would then be $95 the next year. Food and energy, which is your gas for your car, diesel fuel, things like that, it's really sporadic. They leave it out of the narrow way that they're looking at inflation, at least in the US. It's also good to look at what is inflation over a long period of time. So in 1992 versus 2022, so the median home in the US, according to the St. Louis Fed, was $126,000. Incomes were about $20,760. So it took on average 6.1 times the median income to get the median price of a home. Fast forward 30 years, the prices, they're not going to go down. Basically, your monetary policies in the US and many countries, we depreciate our currencies so that we want some inflation, which actually benefits people that have fixed rate long-term debt, like a fixed rate mortgage or something like that. Each year you get paid more and more. So if you fast forward from 1992 to 2022, the median home price is now $479,500, and that went up from the $126. And the median income is now $59,430, up from that $20,760. I always like to keep things in proportion because, again, the value of a dollar or whatever currency you're working with changes over time. But if you look, now we're at 8.1 times that median income to the median home. So it's going in a direction that's making things less and less affordable over time. What we need to do is increase productivity. If we can increase productivity, we can increase people's income. If you increase income, you can get this number to go down, which then makes it more affordable to buy houses and things like that. So either the people need to be more productive so that we can earn more money, or we could be more productive in the way we build buildings and more efficient so that we can bring down the cost of a home, or at least don't let the home price keep going out of control. Those are different ways that you can bring those two in alignment. In general, over time, countries will print more and more of their own currency. And if they print more and more of their own currency faster than the rate that the country can produce goods and services, you're going to see inflation. If you have something, say like a TV, and we produce that more efficiently today than we ever did in the past. So I know when I bought, say, a 40-inch TV 10 plus years ago, it was close to $1,000. Now I can get a 75-inch TV, which is even better than what I had before, and I only paid $500. So For electronics and things where we can increase our productivity or efficiency, you'll actually see deflationary things. But where we're not becoming more and more efficient, you see inflation. And as countries have a lot of debt, and that debt is serviced in that country's denominated currency, a lot of countries may print more money to pay off their debts, or the other option is they can raise a lot of tax revenue, tax their people, and have austerity where they stopped giving out programs to the country. But that's probably going to lead to a whole bunch of recessions and things like that, if not even maybe a depression. And if a politician puts a country into a depression or recession or anything like that when working with monetary policy, of people don't generally re-elect those people that are in power when they have those types of measures, and it makes the population very unhappy. So the lesser of two evils in many instances is they choose to print more money and then cause more inflation, and they'll blame a whole bunch of other people. I don't think prices are going down. Okay, food, energy, gas, they're highly volatile. They may or may not go up or down over time. In food, what we're seeing right now is there's something called shrinkflation, is what it's being coined. This happened back in 2008, 2009 as well, where if you ever had a half gallon of ice cream, when you go to the store, you can't find a half gallon of ice cream. Now it's about 75% of that. It's 1.5 quarts instead of a 2-quart thing of ice cream. So, but then they charge you the same amount. There's sneaky ways to get around the food where companies will just reduce the size of the packaging. Well, thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a great day.